I'm assuming that by now everyone has seen the Devon LARRATT versus Brian shot practice footage, but just in case you haven't, it's over on Brian's channel. Now, there was one thing in particular that I wanted to talk about, and that is Brian's desire to push. Not necessarily in a pressing move, but just this constant desire where even if he's top rolling, you see him still kind of wanting to push a little bit. This is something that's very, very common, especially with people who are very good at a pressing movement outside of the context of arm wrestling. So maybe this is people who are strongmen who are really good at log press and overhead pressing, or people who are really good at bench pressing. Even when you tell them to pull back, they keep wanting to bring their shoulder forward a little bit and just push down. Even if they open the match in a top roll, they're still going to want to push at some point in time. And this is what we see right here. When Brian is opening this pull, we see that he's kind of top rolling. He's kind of going outside, but you still see that desire for him to push. He wants to push to finish the match. And Devon notices this right off the bat. So immediately Devon starts telling him to try to pull back a little bit more. Even when Brian is pinning, continue to pull back. And in this second pull here, Brian looks much, much better to me. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to see the back pressure in the match. Obviously, Devon is stronger than Brian, and they're not going 100% here, nowhere near max effort, so Devon's arm may not move toward Brian's side of the table, but it at least appears as though Brian is putting a lot more back pressure into this match. And just the difference in this one technical adjustment that Devon told Brian to make here, his top roll is looking far, far better. I think that sometimes in the practice pulls we've seen with Brian, whether it's with Eddie Hall or whomever, he's looked a little bit like he's kind of in no man's land. He's not sure if he wants to press or if he wants to top roll, so he ends up doing this kind of press top roll thing, but in doing so, he's significantly limiting his back pressure. If Brian will just commit a little bit harder like we see him doing here, to fully doing an outside move to pulling, I think that Brian's potential for back pressure is off the charts. We've already seen him just messing around a little bit with some of the Devon LARRATT rise and pronation lifts, and just messing around, he's hitting around 100 pounds. He can probably do way over that. Maybe he can do double that, who knows? But he is going to have to commit a little bit harder to that pulling vector once he's actually on the table. If you commit your shoulder too hard, you're going to limit your back pressure just biomechanically. And then here we can see the same thing in straps. Brian is doing a much better job. He's still maybe pushing just a little bit, but it looks like he's doing a better job of maintaining back pressure. I think that once Brian really gets this mind-muscle connection and he really starts to feel what he needs to do, his back pressure is going to be absolutely insane. And with Brian's hand size, his arm length, combined with his back pressure, I think it's going to be just about impossible for anyone to contain him, assuming that his setup is perfect. So let me know what you guys think about this, but I really like seeing Brian pull in this way. I like seeing Devon teaching Brian to commit a little bit harder to that back pressure that he already has, instead of going for the press right away. Now, Devon does say in this video that maybe Brian can press at some point in the future, but he probably should start off with this more outside move. So maybe Brian will be a presser at some point, but for now, I think that if he sticks with the technique for this top roll, even if it feels a little bit more foreign to him than a pushing motion, it could be absolutely devastating if he really gets it down. Let me know what you guys think Brian's go-to move should be for now, but I personally really like that he's focusing on this more outside move.